Welcome back to another episode of That Sound Podcast. And if you love music, you're in the right place. Today we have Luke back with us, of course, our co-host. What's the story, Luke?
I am back for the foreseeable. I'm
Yes,
glad that time allows me on the schedule to be back this week.
yes.
And from what I've heard, I'm in for a treat. The
Yeah.
previous two episodes talking about Syracuse and Toronto was absolutely class.
Yes, of course, we have friend of the podcast back with us, Chris Sulek. How's things, Chris?
Doing well. Still recovering from Nashville. It was a great experience.
Yes.
Need a little bit more sleep in my life.
Can't wait to hear all about it. So, yeah, so you flew down on Wednesday, was that right?
Yes, yeah. I flew out Wednesday morning.
Cool, cool. And straight into Nashville. So, what was the scene in Nashville like?
So yeah, I showed up. My first priority was getting in contact with friends from Poland that had arrived,
Oh, yes.
and it was, hey, let's go down to Broadway and go check out that scene with all the live music. That's everything I've heard about Nashville.
Yes.
I kind of stuck out like a sore thumb. I did this on purpose. I wanted to cowboy up, so showed up in boots and a hat, and yeah, you go around there, and it's a bunch of tourists, not a lot of people dressed up for country, but immediately met up with my friends. Found myself at Tootsie's. The first experience of walking in, live band. There's no seating here. Let's go upstairs. Another level, another live band. Same thing above that, and I was like, okay, they're for real with this live music.
Yeah, yeah. I remember I was saying to you, like, it's and top caliber of musicians.
Yeah, yeah, and it was just all day, and it was every bar, and I could see how you've got to choose whether, hey, we're going to hang here, or hey, let's go to the next bar and see what we see. But it seems I need to spend some more time there.
Yeah, yeah. It's a fun city. So straight away on the on your first arrival, was there a big Metallica scene? Was there plenty of T-shirts floating around? Was a lot of guys in early, or was it more so the following day?
It was more apparent to me that evening.
Okay.
I showed up, and at first it was a lot of tourists. That people. It didn't look like anybody I recognized. Not a lot of Metallica shirts. But as the evening progressed, we ended up at Bon Jovi's bar.
Oh,
We
cool.
walked in there. There was plenty of room. There weren't too many people there, but they had a welcome Metallica fans sign outside. We went in, and of course, all the bands are pumping. Hey, we know Metallica's in town. And they're always passing the bucket. For X amount of money, we'll play whatever you want, including Metallica.
Yes.
Um, and as it progressed through the evening, I was seeing more and more people I recognized who were coming in that afternoon, and then eventually that ended with by the time my Polish gang left and I was about to head home, I got a text from a friend from Atlanta who was like, "Hey, everybody's at Kid Rock's." So I walk over there, I go to the top floor, and it was the road crew. Everybody was there.
Oh, nice.
No way.
As in not the road crew for Metallica, but as in like the I Disappear,
Oh,
and
okay, okay.
yeah, everybody
Familiar
that
faces.
travels. That's what I mean. Let me
The
Yeah.
guys who are heading to the shows, the Metallica family.
yes, the family.
Was there any tribute acts or anything in on Broadway? Was there any Metallica tributes? You know the way sometimes they put up some local-ish tribute acts? No?
I don't recall, and I don't recall seeing that on the in between. It was just with
Okay.
so much stuff going on, and with stuff people posted. I think the big draw the night in between that I saw was somebody had a few people had posted stuff from Chiefs, which is I think Eric Church is his name, his bar.
Right.
Uh, and he was there, and Jose Mangan, I guess, was emceeing, and that's when Kirk and Rob came out and spoke to the crowd. But
Right.
as far as a dedicated tribute band, I wasn't aware of that, or I wasn't going to participate.
You did catch some of the events throughout the weekend too. Before we get into the set list, maybe we get some feedback on that. It'd be cool to hear about the. I know you caught the Squindo show, right?
Yes, yeah, the Squindo. I think he's got it. It's 104 seasons of Squindo or something to that effect. But Squindo art, and I'd done it in Seattle last year, and it was two sessions, and I didn't know I was going. Somebody said I have an extra ticket, so I went. They said stick around for the second show. It's going to be or second talk. It's going to be different from the first. And then I ran into somebody else. I have an extra ticket for that one. It always seems to work out that way. So I stayed for the second one. And and I enjoyed it. Just hearing him talk, seeing how humble he is,
Yeah.
hearing his story, how he got to this point. And he's extremely approachable. If you see him, go say hello to him. And as far as it went, I thought maybe there would be something different with this. So I went with some friends who hadn't seen it, and that was the whole point. I wanted to go hang out with them. But yeah, we went. It was actually a lot of the same stuff from those first talks I attended.
Okay.
A little bit extra, but I was really happy I did it because I'd forgotten a lot of the details from the first time around.
Yeah, his work is really, really, really good. Really
Yeah.
good. Myself and Luke happened to get a different artist that the band worked with as well, Luke Priest. We had a chat with him one time on our podcast, and it was very interesting to get into the mind of the artist and where the ideas come from. It's fascinating, wasn't it, Luke?
Yeah, for sure. That chat with Luke Priest was really, really informative. He spoke about his process into drawing up some designs and where he takes inspiration from and all of that sort of good stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's interesting to see that his 72 Seasons themed t-shirt is one of their main sellers in the pop-up shop.
yeah. It's the one that you see everybody wearing.
Yeah, and they're always tagging him in it, which is cool. I think that's awesome that
Yeah,
you see Luke's story every Metallica weekend. There's like loads of reposts of people wearing his t-shirt.
yeah. But talking about the artwork for Nashville was absolutely brilliant. Luke, I remember you sent me a picture of it. It was so damn
Yeah,
good.
it was really cool. And the reason I had sent it to you was I know you love the posters,
Yeah.
Gavin, of the gigs. And I had sent it to Gavin, Chris, being like, man, if we could get you one of these for the studio, you
Yeah.
would be over the moon. You'd be like a child at Christmas.
Yeah, it was really good. I love the color. I love everything about the two shows. What was your take on them, Chris?
Yeah, as far as it went, I ended up getting the overall weekend poster. So the sword through the skull with
Yes.
with the logo on there. And I grabbed that from the pop-up store. I was like, I'm here. I might as well grab one. I was grabbing some stuff for other people.
Yeah.
Uh, but all the color that came with that one, I really liked it.
So good. Which artist done that one?
I couldn't tell you. I didn't look into it and I didn't hear, but I
Okay.
was just like, it's one of the, I saw it and I needed it.
Yeah, it was so good. It was really good. It definitely stood out for me. So on the topic of the pop-up shop, Chris, did you go early? Did you go late? Did you go with the intention of getting the splatter, or were you just kind of going for the hell of it?
I first popped in the first time. So the only time I ever did it was in Madrid, and I knew that stuff was limited. I never knew how limited, and I knew that the collectors were the ones lining up. The experience from last week in Toronto, where
Yeah.
there was a guy out there at 3 a.m. My buddy was out there at 6 a.m. every day. So this time around, when I first got there, before I got to Broadway, I went into the pop-up store, and actually I got a T-shirt with this logo on it. And then I wanted the long sleeve, but they didn't have large at that time. And I had a mug. I had a 72 Seasons mug before. It's probably disappearing there, but the 72 mug, and that had broken. So I walked in, I grabbed the T-shirt, I grabbed the mug. I was happy. Somebody who had hooked me up with Snake Pit passes in the past multiple times had requested some pins. And I was like, I'll put in the effort for this guy. He really hooked me up. I can do the same. So I was up at 6 in the morning. The day in between, I was in line at 6 a.m. I was probably when they numbered it, I think I was 27th in line.
It's not too bad.
I had made a deal with the guy in front of me. He actually was he was just picking up T-shirts. He wasn't there for any of the other collector's items. He's
Yeah.
like, hey, can you grab me a pin? Yeah. My buddy who was always there, he showed up. I talked to another guy at the front of the line who I just met the previous week, and he was there to grab some collectibles.
Yeah.
By the time my buddy came through, he was going to grab me a pin, and I was going to grab him a vinyl splatter. I got that for him, but I saw him go up, and by the time he went up, he was in the 30s. By the time he went up, they said we're out of pins. So
Oh no.
he had already purchased one earlier in the week, and because I got him that record, he was able to get that to me. So all parties were taken care of. So
Awesome.
So how many splatters do they give out on a day? Is it 100 or something?
maybe, yeah. If even that, I would think. The first thing I noticed is they ran out of skateboard decks. I guess they have the local, the local. They ran out of those before I got through, and I was 27th. They ran out of the pin just behind that, and I would think that the splatter was next, whether that's 50 to 100, where that would have been.
I would have thought, Luke, I don't know what you think as well. Like at 6 a.m., I would have thought you were further back in the line. I would have expected more people there, maybe even like as we said in Toronto, there's people lining up at 3 a.m. But I guess if I rocked up at 6 a.m., Luke, I think I'd be kind of confident enough that there was only 30 ahead of me.
Well, all I'm going to say is I'm glad you didn't drag me out of bed at 5 a.m. to go to the pop-up shop the day between our Madrid shows
Yeah.
because I was not long in bed at that stage.
No, it was
But
I.
we had a good night's crack on the Friday night, Chris. After the first night of the Madrid gig, we were
Yeah.
just in awe. We were dumbfounded, couldn't believe it.
Mm,
The Gavin, I'd say you haven't had as much crack
yes.
since one of your first Metallica gigs.
You know what I'm just thinking? The last time that I had Jägermeister was in Madrid and I had it on Sunday night. And that's the last time. That's a span of distance from Jägermeister that I had. And I just got a flashback there drinking Jägermeister out of the small bottles in Madrid. Oh my God. But
That was some laugh.
we hit up the pop-up shop on the,
Thursday when we landed.
yeah, I'm not sure what day you got there, Chris.
So yep, same. I think I went into the pop-up store. Let me see, Warsaw Monday, Tuesday. Actually, I may have gone Wednesday. I think
Right.
I went Wednesday. I went in Wednesday afternoon, and it was a casual walk in,
Yeah, same with
grabbed
us.
a t-shirt for somebody that needed a t-shirt and walked out.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it was pretty hot. Was there a couple? There was a bit of a line for us, not much.
Yeah, there was only about, we weren't there for opening.
10 or 12 people.
Yeah,
It was around 2 or like
yeah, around that.
2 afternoon time, and there might have been 10 or 12 people. They were handing out bottles of water and
Yeah,
cans of liquid death because it was like
It
40
was
degrees
so
Celsius.
hot.
yeah, we
It was
chatted about that
hot.
before. It was hot as hell in Madrid. Oh my God.
And I remember you saying that, Gavin, if we had a went Friday,
Yeah,
when people we talked to at the show said that the queue was like half a mile long in that heat,
yeah. And it
you
was
would have
well
been
out
in
of the
bother.
city too. It was right, like it was a taxi ride out to it, like,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But let's get into night one at Nashville. Well, before we get into Nashville set list, tell us about Titan Stadium. How was it, Chris? How was the sound? How was the crowd? How was everything?
It was so yeah, it's still a pretty, nice football stadium. It's open air. Right next door, they're building a new smart stadium that's going to be covered with a roof.
Oh,
So that's going to hamper future performances. I think I was told that in 2027 they're supposed to finish that. They're going to turn the current Nissan Stadium into a parking lot.
no way.
But we got there. The whole worry was weather. Leading
Yes.
up to you're talking about the South. You're talking about April, May, that time of year. The propensity for severe thunderstorms is high. But as far as it went, I didn't put up with any weather. Got in there. What I've noticed with these Thursday shows that they've been doing is that everybody's at work. So the crowd, the GA is pretty thin when it first gets in. By the time Pantera is coming out, it's still pretty empty in the seats.
Okay.
But as far as it was, weather was great. The weather was perfect. The sound was good. We weren't putting up with the problems that we were putting up with inside the
Toronto.
Rogers Center.
Right. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. Well, let's get into the set list. So you had your I Disappear and you got a brilliant spot, right?
Yes, I was fortunate. I didn't wait in line that day. I showed up at around 3:30, checked in at I Disappear. I had some friends that had Frantic that were like, "We'll save a spot for you," So thank you. And then so they let me know, "Hey, we're over by Rob." So I went in and I ended up going the wrong way. I didn't see Chad over there in James's spot, but I went the wrong way. But I did a quick 360, ran around, said hello to people, found my friends, and we were at the dip. I was just essentially on the opposite side of the dip that I was in night one in Toronto. So I was right there at the dip on Rob's side.
Cool. Cool. Um, let's get into the set. Luke, do you have the set list? No?
I do. Let me fire it up.
Yeah, you go for it.
So, as always, you know shit's about to get real when you start to hear It's a Long Way to the Top hit the PA.
Yes.
Yeah.
So at that stage, Chris, are you with your friends in Rob's spot?
Yes, yeah, I'm with my friends there, and then there's somebody next to me. I've heard him talking to another friend of mine who is behind us, who doesn't know Metallica really well. So he's one of the casual ones that knows the hits and just came to see Metallica. So
Yeah.
as we're going through it, I'm just as I'm taking it in, I'm wondering what kind of lens he's seeing it through.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Is Rob sort of bumping around at that stage, interacting with the crowd?
So right there during that point, he hasn't. James walked by. He touched my hand. At that point, I was right. I could go back to the hotel and just be fine. Um, but later on throughout the show, yeah, at one point Rob did come up and gripped our hands, and it was like so great to see you, Rob. Yeah,
Oh man, what a legend.
That's cool.
So then we get in, then the ecstasy gold hits.
the
One thing-
goosebumps.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth, Chris. I swear to God, no matter, okay, we have small numbers compared to you, Chris, with shows, but no matter how many times I hear that song, I don't care. I will always get goosebumps.
Every time. I just now am thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm getting
I
that.
can actually hear
Yeah,
it
I'm the
on my
same.
neck.
Yeah,
On my
yeah.
neck, yeah. So good. Oh, God. Keep going, Luke.
Then we crack into my favorite set list opener, Creeping Death.
Yeah.
Heavy.
And that's when I'm thinking of the guy next to me when we get into the die part. The lights come down. I'm still picturing it. It's all red in there, and you're seeing the fists. You're seeing the army. And just hearing the chants of die. And I'm like, this guy has to really love what he's taking in.
Yes.
Whatever about that being such an incredible moment, Chris, I think us as the true fans, that small silence as the ecstasy gold ends, as Lars eyes Jimmy, eyes James, whoever he's looking at that time, someone in the crowd, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the Chinese usually now, and in we go, is just like all hell's about to break loose.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. It's like that chills moment we just spoke about, the ecstasy gold.
Honestly, I can't get over it. I'm just thinking,
I know. I feel my
it's
heart.
so good. Like you can't describe it unless you've been there.
But look at track 2.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. This was a heavy hitter of a set.
Yeah.
So we got Harvester of Sorrow for track 2.
Yep.
I'll never get sick of hearing that ever.
Was there much of a hang in between it, Chris, or did they sort of just straight in?
I feel like they just went straight into that.
Yeah, I feel like they rolled the first 3 songs.
Yeah.
And then number 3, another massive one to get, Leper Messiah.
And after last week, I was asked. I told my friends too. I was like, I really want Leper today. And then right when they went into it, I turned. I was like, I asked and I received.
The gods have spoken.
And the funny part with Leper, so I always make extra. And it's once something happens the first time, you don't want to screw it up after that. But the first time I heard Leper was in Arlington in 2023. And I had heard live versions of Leper so much that when they went into it, and I was in the Snake Pit in Arlington, they went into it, and I did not realize it was the first time I was hearing it live. I thought to myself, oh, I've heard this, and I went with it, and I always go ham, but it was the next week in LA that I was like, okay, I didn't really take it in and just and understand that I was finally getting it, and then I was able to just have like an emotional moment with it that time around. But so no, hearing Leper live now really means something to me.
Hell yeah. It's so fast, so heavy. Metallica at their best, and they're still playing it. I seen footage, like it's still pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's unreal that Lars is still busting out the double pedal part as well. He's not shying away from it. He's nailing it.
Yeah.
And any of the videos that I saw, Gavin, and that I had sent to you, like his drums sounded absolutely amazing. Everything was on point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even like Kirk, James, Rob, they all sound brilliant. It's just like they're getting better.
Yeah, rolling back to years. I'm sure you guys might have seen this footage too. I think it was shared maybe by the Metallica page, but someone had a camera at Lars's feet. I don't
No,
know
I
how.
didn't see that.
Oh
Huh.
Jesus, it's he's non-stop like even the left foot is going, you know,
Yeah, he keeps it off the hi-hat stand and he's
yeah,
bouncing
and he's
that
still
thing all the time.
all the time. Yeah, like he really, like we've had this chat numerous times. Like Lars is a phenomenal drummer, and I know, Luke, you as a drummer, you'll die in that hill. But
I'll
like,
die on that hill, and I'll tell you, going off topic slightly, but I listened to Saint Anger again the full way through twice or three times last week, whatever mood was on me. And I was like, some of the drum parts in here are fucking brilliant.
mm, mm, yeah, yeah. As I
I
said,
know people aren't enamored by the sound,
yeah.
but like he gave it his all playing wise.
Do you know what? Just going on this topic here that we're on, and Chris, I'd love to hear your take on it too. But funny, I was listening to a bit of Corn during the week, and I was listening to a bit of System of a Down, and I don't know why I heard something somewhere, something I seen on YouTube, and they were on about, obviously, I think it was that clip that we shared that, Lars was possibly looking for that new metal sound, and maybe me and you had this chat, Luke, and I never really twigged it, and maybe you did as a drummer, Luke, but like Korn had that snappy snare as well, that pingy snare. So did System of a Down,
Oh,
but it just wasn't as high in volume. But if you listen back, I definitely could hear it. That snare. I don't know, Luke, what's your take on that?
Yeah, look, there was a lot of different snare sounds happening around that time. As something we must make a short on for the crack is a lot of drummers or drum pages, they like to get into this chat of Lars's signature snare that was released in the early 2000s by Tama. There were two models, but the one that seems to get slated for the Saint Anger sound is his signature stainless steel snare. Yet that wasn't the drum that they used to record Saint Anger. And it fascinates me that people who want to jump on the bandwagon to bury him number one and bury his sound don't care to know what drum was actually used to record it. And it was an acrylic Ludwig Vistalite snare.
Right.
And supposedly there was a clear drum head on it to give it more attack. And like those acrylic drums, Gavin, would be very warm and the snares were off it anyway. So
Yeah.
it would sound, high pitched. It'd nearly sound more like a rack tom or a
Mm,
floor tom and get that big chunk of a note.
mm,
And that's where you got that ping from. And
right.
a lot of drums will give you that with the snare off, tuned to a certain range. Maybe not a wood drum, but definitely more of a steel drum and the
Yeah.
microphone pointed toward the edge.
Definitely some of
That's going off topic a wee bit more, but there are a lot of those metal drums that if you just crank them, you're gonna get that new metal sound of the late 90s, early noughties.
yeah. Yeah. Interesting. But what are we up to? Track 4, Luke.
Up to track 4. I'm sure they had a little bit of a chat before King Nothing.
there was because there was a little bit of a chat because I remember I do recall, more like a put your eyes on Kirk, or he turned it over to Kirk as he went into that. Yeah.
I always feel when King Nothing comes up in the set list, you see a certain excitement rise in James.
Yeah, I think so too, actually. I think he really loves that album.
I'd say that has a lot to do with now. Another thing, I'm not so sure how accurate it is, but the way they've talked about James coming up with certain bass lines.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, was King Nothing his baby as well?
Possibly, yeah.
Could be. Maybe that's what gives him the excitement of it. But I watched the live footage of. There's a couple of really good videos on YouTube of King Nothing in Nashville, and he's standing up there giving it his all when that riff kicks in.
Yeah.
And even the mid section where the pair of them sort of eye each other and James is doing his wee lead bit,
Yeah.
whatever's going on, Kirk's loving that.
Yeah. It's a great song. It's a great
It's
song.
great camaraderie between them on stage as well again,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
100%.
which is awesome to see.
So then into 72 seasons. And then they seem to always have that, the fifth and sixth slot is kind of 72 seasons, right, Chris?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Before they go into the doodle,
Yeah.
that's where they'll drop 72 seasons tracks.
How do you like you that has been to a couple of shows this year? Like, are you still loving 72 seasons, or would you?
I am. Yeah, certainly. And especially those songs, 72 seasons, Shadows Follow, especially. I love all the different riffs in that one.
Yeah,
But yeah, and obviously, in a Murata. But as far as it goes, like the album itself, yeah, I still really like the album.
yeah,
I'm still songs. I can tell the excitement, from those first four songs, and now we're going to the new material, and then I can feel the energy in the stadium kind of wane as we're going into the not old popular Metallica stuff.
yeah. But like you just said, two really good tracks, and it's a really good album. I'm a big fan of "You Must Born."
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
And then when they play "If Darkness Had a Son," that Temptation part is so heavy, and I really love that.
I was just about to say track number 6 has to be one of my favorites off the album. Now, Inamorata is probably my favorite, but You Must Burn and then If Darkness Had a Son,
Mhm.
I think it and Inamorata, it's a toss up between them on any given day, but
yeah,
just the riffs in that, Chris, it's so heavy.
It is. It was funny. I was explaining it when they played it all within my hands, and they did that version. I turned to my buddy and I was like, man, at this moment, I miss that heavy, that low temptation.
yeah.
I love the energy behind that.
He's definitely smiling on stage when that one's on as well, as we talked about on the load stuff. But so Luke, myself and yourself watched on YouTube the Doodle to Live Is to Die.
Yes, we did.
Chris, I was actually looking forward to asking you this question because going by the YouTube footage, I didn't think it was fantastic.
Just the sound of it, or
Yeah, it possibly might have been the video, but
yeah.
it took a minute to kind of go, is that the song? And then, oh yeah, that's it.
That
But
was it. Yeah, no, that was it. Because it was, and that's what I noticed last week is we're doing this jam, and all of a sudden we break right into
yeah,
whatever we're going to play for you. So that was the thing with Suicide and Redemption last week.
yeah,
You're just kind of going with it, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, wait a minute.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it was the same thing with that. I'm headbanging just a bit to the jam and just kind of going with the vibe and the groove of it. And next thing you know, it just caught me by surprise. And it was like, really, we're doing this? We're doing this? And I hear it from the people around me as everybody's having that realization. And I'm thinking back to when I actually got to hear the song, and we're like, this is really going to happen.
Yeah. Oh
But
man.
I was excited. I knew we were just going to get a snippet, but I was
Yeah.
I was happy to be in the presence.
Oh man, I'd take a snippet any day. Just a little
Yeah.
tease, it'll do me, even if it's just the two guys. But yeah, interesting. So then, Luke, you take over here.
So after that, we went into The Day That Never Comes.
Brilliant song live.
One of the best, and the one that's probably carried the most from Death Magnetic in
Yeah.
later years.
Yeah,
Yep.
I know Cyanide has become reintroduced in the last couple of years in some shows, but The Day That Never Comes has been a stalwart.
it's so good live. I like, again, going back to Madrid because it's the only show that we've been at lately. But that stands out. Remember me and you, Luke, going, this is. Wow.
Yeah, that was a heavy hitter.
That was savage. It was just there was something special about it in that moment. I don't know what it
Yeah.
was. I think it was like we just talked about maybe 10 minutes ago, getting that goosebumps of, the ecstasy of gold. I think I kind of just sat back in my chair and just kind of took it in for a second, and was like, this is fucking happening. This is my favorite band right in front of me.
Mhm.
They're back. To me, Slane, we chatted before. I remember saying to Luke, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is gonna last. They don't, something's not right. But in that moment, at that song, I do remember like going back in my seat and going, yes, this is gonna be around for another few years. This is amazing. This was another level. I don't know if you agree, Luke.
Yeah, yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. There was something special about that performance.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Number
they
nine, or sorry,
oh,
go on ahead, Chris, my bad.
and they have a lot of fun where they gather together. At the towards the end of that,
Yes.
what I noticed because as I was going through some footage, past footage, when I was on my way, I saw in Seattle where Rob and James are by each other, and James keeps putting out his fingers towards Rob while he's playing. He's just strumming his part, keeps sticking out his fingers. Rob's over here playing. He's like, "What do you want me to do to your fingers?" Because James keeps sticking him out to him. And it's so like at one point, Rob has put his bass on his fingers. He's always, maybe he's trying to slap them with his fingers. James likes to annoy him, and so I noticed this time around again as they were doing that, and then they were going, and Rob finally just gave up on him, and then they continued on with their part. But it's always funny to see that little interaction.
They definitely seem to have some great chemistry at the minute.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Um. So
And
Shadows
then
Fallen, right?
and it might have been right before Shadows Fall. I think it was before that because I think that they were ready to go into it. I can't remember if it was that song or before Day or before the night. I think it was before this one. Uh, Lars was having some equipment issues, so he had to call Jimmy back on stage. There was a little bit of a delay,
Right.
so Jimmy starts talking for a bit, and then Kirk goes into Smoke in the Water, and it was still going, so they kept playing, and James started going into vocals, and I was like, "To Live Is to Die," some Smoke on the Water. I feel like we're listening to Live Shit Binge and Purge again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that was actually another really cool moment. I was like, I haven't seen them have that much of a delay where they've had to go into that in person.
Yeah. It says it was preceded by after Shadows Fallen, but that could be wrong. But
Oh, okay. So it might have been right after that. Yeah, I couldn't tell where it was, but I knew which location they were in.
I seen the footage of it, and just as James starts, maybe like 5 seconds after it, Lars comes in on the hi hat, like, and it's like, that'd be pretty cool to see. Just
Yeah.
something so natural to happen like that would have been cool. Then we roll into Orion, definitely, definitely a masterpiece, dedicated to Cliff Burton, of course. And then night one, we kind of finished with, it's pretty much standard, I think, Chris, right?
Yeah. And Orion is something I'm always looking forward to on night one
Yeah.
is because out of that and Cthulhu, I was like, give me Orion every day. And I love Orion every time I hear it.
Yeah, 100%. It's so good. I just said recently that it used to be my number one, but To Live Is to Die is my number one. So to get
that's your number one.
to get both of them on the one night, Jesus, even though it's not a full song, I'll take it. But then we finish up with the regular Nothing Else Matters, Sad But True, Battery, Jesus,
Yeah, I was wondering if we might get like, Blackened in that slot this time around, and
Yeah.
I'm never gonna turn
Oh,
down Battery.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then Fuel with the Helping Hands intro, Seek and Destroy, and Master of Puppets. So yeah, that's a nice ending to a hell of a night.
Yeah.
Any standout moments from any of them tracks?
Um, just trying to obviously Seek and Destroy the balls. It was funny because before the show even started early on, one of the towers, the balls fell out. I was like, "Oh, we're going into Seek and Destroy." So they had
Oh,
to work. They had to work to put those back in, and I did check and I looked when the balls started to fall. Those balls were back in the tower, and they did fall out. So it was pandemonium again with the balls.
right, right. So how was it getting back to your hotel and that? Was it okay or
Yeah, it was. afterwards, take pictures, say hello, mingle amongst people as you're getting ushered out of the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was, hey, come meet with us. Cool, I'll do that. And then I thought about it. It's like, no, I better get the pop-up store done. I better get out of here. Because I hit it so hard on Broadway the night before.
Yeah.
I hadn't had any alcohol in this day, and I was like, I'm not going to go have any either.
Yeah.
So I took off. I had a fortunate arrangement where I was staying at a lake house that was probably a 30-minute drive away. I had a car. She was like, use my car. She had an apartment there on the river just across the bridge.
Nice.
So it was a simple walk out of the stadium, across the bridge, grab the car, drive home, pass out.
Nice. Nice.
Nice. Nice.
So when did you get the good news in the email?
Oh, so yeah, I was at I should have checked because we were at Bon Jovi's bar on Wednesday night. I had already checked earlier in the day and saw that I didn't win passes for the first. But I didn't realize that emails were still going to come out later that day for Saturday. So later that evening, I want to say around 10 o'clock, just ballpark, but it was later that evening. One of my friends looks and he's showing me, he's like, I won for tomorrow. And I was like, that's kick ass. I probably should have checked at that moment. Again, I was like, well, I didn't win. I should have checked at that moment, and we probably could have made a deal. Hey, you take me, I'll take you. But of course, he took a friend. They were from Poland. He took a friend from Poland, so we might not have done that anyway because that they got to take the opportunity while they can. But it was good because I was able to help out another friend that was coming and staying with me. So I think it was. Oh, it was when I had just parked the car and I was walking to the stadium for that first show on Thursday because I was looking for my instructions, like what gate do I need to go pick up my pass at?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just typed in Metallica in my search, and the first thing that pops up is, hey, here's your birthday gift. The next thing was, winner, Snake Pit. I was like, and all of a sudden I had all the energy in the world. I just ran to the stadium.
Nice.
I was on cloud nine. My head was spinning, and I was like, I can't believe it.
Wow, man.
That's awesome. So like rocking up to, for the people that don't know, including myself, so Snake Pit, because you spoke before about you have to line up for, the frantic gets in first and then I disappear. So what is the structure for Snake Pit passes? How does it all go?
So for Snake Pit passes, if you I think if you purchase them, you get in with general admission, or you generally get in with, and if you win Snake Pit passes, unless you have a package tied to it, then I think, if you get like the black box experience and all that, if you just have straight up Snake Pit passes, you're going to go in with GA. If you win Snake Pit passes as John Q Public, you have to have already purchased a ticket. So if you have seats, or if you're on the floor general admission, you're going to get in with general admission, essentially. If you have frantic, or if you have I disappear and you have early entry and you happen to get Snake Pit, then you go collect your Snake Pit pass and you go in with I disappear frantic. So you get that early entry. So I'm going to get in there.
Nice.
I'm going to get in the stadium before a majority of the other Snake Pit pass holders get in.
Mm-hmm. So you get in, and whose spot were you aiming for, or what spot were you aiming for?
I'm always a drum kit number one guy, which is as much heartburn as I have in anxiously awaiting getting in there and getting to that spot. I never have to rush.
Right.
Everybody I know that's in there with early entry is always like lining up at the dip. Camilla from Australia, she's always there for drum kit number 3 when she's in there. So I'm always on the opposite side of her office over at drum kit number 1, and I'm generally always the first person walking over to drum kit number 1.
Right.
But I love the shot of the drums coming up during Ecstasy. I love the hardcore fast song that we're going to get to kick things off. I just want that immediate energy, and then to go enjoy myself the rest of the way in the Snake Pit.
Yeah, man, I'm getting them chills again.
So good.
Oh my God. So the Snake Pit, is it packed?
Yeah, as far as you go in there, when Ice Nine Kills comes out, it's not. It's probably 2 or 3 deep. Plenty of room to move around. Having seen, I think that I checked on where I check in, but I think this is my 14th time that I've been, I wouldn't say seen, but in the presence of Ice Nine Kills. At that point, I'm just like, man, I want to walk around. I'm not here for Ice Nine Kills. I just want to walk around. I want to see my friends. I want to
Yeah.
have a couple beers.
Yes.
So at that point, that's it. I just want to get there early, get my spot, get to know the people around me. Let's establish, let's establish our spot together. Work in tandem. At this point, I turned to the two guys next to me. Hey, do you guys want to hold my spot? Do you guys like beer? Cool, I'll buy you guys beers. And they're like, yeah, let's work together.
Yeah.
So those guys, the guys that I worked with, I went out, got them beers, came back later with more beers for them, and they held my spot for me. And then I was able to
Nice.
go out, but it was nice as far as Limp Bizkit goes, because
Yeah.
man, after we learned in Toronto, they really get the crowd into it.
Yeah.
Unlike Thursday with the sparse crowd for Pantera, by
Mm.
the time Limp Bizkit came out, it's Saturday, people aren't at work, the place is full, and Limp Bizkit, man, they really get it going. But it was nice being at the soundboard with other friends, getting that view this time rather than being crushed at the rail.
Yeah, and I seen some awesome footage of Fred. He got into the crowd.
Yeah, jumped. It looked what the camera angle I saw, it looked like he just fell over, but yeah, he just jumps right in,
Yeah.
goes in, runs into Mike Muir from Suicidal Tendencies, who at one point was being held back from Sam from Metallica's security, you can see the look in Fred Durst's eyes when he realized, hey, I got to make sure that he knows who he is. It's because he was involved with them. And he's, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mike Weir, and all of a sudden at that point they rocked out together. But it was really cool. He's in there amongst the crowd and handing out the microphone and making contact with people, just mixing it up. It was really cool.
Yeah, like we spoke on the last episode, I really think they're going to be a hit with Metallica fans. Like Luke, we caught them in Belfast. We were pleasantly surprised how intense the crowd got and really how good they were.
Oh yeah, they were brilliant, but that crowd was nuts.
Yeah, it was nuts in
Like
Belfast.
we couldn't believe how crazy that show got. Like there was not one song that you could breathe.
No, everybody rolled back the years. Like it definitely was an older crowd, like maybe 30 to 40 or maybe 40 to 50. But everybody turns into that teenager again. I think they're a perfect fit for Metallica. Again, of course, and I know they done it years ago. But yeah, so they're still rocking it, obviously. I think it's a kind of rinse and repeat set list from Limp Bizkit and Pantera. It's kind of the same every night. But
Yes.
I wouldn't mind. It wouldn't bother me at all. So let's get into Metallica then on night 2 in Nashville.
So night two in Nashville, we got the same night two opener. We got the same two openers actually, Gavin, for the Madrid shows.
Okay. Yeah.
Whiplash.
Before that, though, we had the weather delay.
Oh,
Yes,
yes. We got to talk about that.
I
Yeah.
meant to mention that.
So,
We were there, and I wasn't looking at the screen, but I heard the stadium, the collective gasp, and looked up and saw on the big screen, severe weather, everybody must evacuate, this and that. And at that point, my buddies were just like, just stand there and act like you don't speak English. And but they were getting all of us out of the snake pit. It took some time. Some people just retreated and were able to wait under the tunnels to the snake pit. Eventually, I did make it out and just went up to the concourse. I wasn't on the concourse. It was packed, but I wasn't on the concourse 5 minutes before I heard everybody erupt and we were back down. And I think overall, Metallica was delayed probably half an hour.
you got rain though, right?
We did. I didn't see any lightning. There must have been some in the vicinity.
Yeah.
So the sky did open up. With Ice Nine Kills, there was no rain. It was sunny, blue sky during Limp Bizkit. While Metallica was setting up and it got dark, clouds had moved in. So then there was just a quick downpour, the severe weather warning. And then we came back, and by the time I got my spot back, within the next few minutes, the rain had stopped. I took off my rain jacket before Metallica came on, and I didn't need it the rest of the show.
It was probably just humid as hell, was it?
Yeah.
So, were you able to get your spot back that you wanted? That that drum.
Fortunately, yes, because that's always the worry. You're always like, I got this, and this is actually twice. The two times that I've won snake pit passes through the fifth member contest.
Mm-hmm.
The first time was Denver 2017, which we had the lightning in the middle of the set. So after Unforgiven, Metallica runs off stage. We get whisked out of the snake pit, and I had my spot there, front and center on the rail. I was like, this would happen to me when I win, and I'll probably lose my spot. But everybody came back into the snake pit. Everybody was civil, and everybody got their spot back. We did miss out on 2 songs that night, so that was my worry this time around. I was like, I hope we're not delayed so long that we have to cut songs from 15. So yeah, I came back in, and the 2 gentlemen that I had worked in tandem with earlier were there, and they called me over right away, like, Chris, come here, here's your spot.
Oh, that's cool. That's good to hear.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I was fortunate. I was worried about my friends from Poland who had come a long way and spent a lot of money on frantic tickets and had their spot at the rail. So I was worried about them, and they were able to get their spots back as well.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. That's really, really good to hear. That's just like, still this decent people around there, because,
Yeah.
Some people would, I don't know what it'd be like in Ireland, but it sounds like there's better.
Oh, you could imagine what that it'd be like, Gavin. Oh, look at that fella. He had it the last time. He won't get it this time.
Yeah, yes. So, but right, let's get into the set list then. So, Whiplash, right in front of you, Chris. Tell me about it.
Yep, that was that's my thing. Like night 1, I'm really looking forward to Orion. Night 2, I'm really looking for Whiplash right off the bat. So I was happy I had those seats that day. Yeah, they come out to Whiplash. I'm on cloud 9. Being in the Seattle mode, I saw your Seattle talk.
Oh yeah.
So I always love when they play Dick Rash as games go to Seattle. And then immediately the guys around me who I've been explaining, like, this is what you're going to expect, and we're talking about the drums coming up. We're talking about going into Whiplash. And as soon as they see Lars from here to there, they're tapping my shoulder. They were like, you weren't kidding. Thank you so much.
Yeah, 100%. Like, yeah, you just turn into a child again. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with that. I don't care. Like, we all have icons and we all have idols, and no matter if you're 40 or you're 30 or whatever, I don't care. That's the beauty of music. You get what we talked about earlier. You get the goosebumps, you get the stomach dropping, you get the awe, you get it all. And I can only imagine, and please God, someday I get the snake pit. Look, we done pretty good on Slane. We got some of the tracks.
Gold Circle.
Yeah, we got some of the tracks that's coming up on night 2 right in front of us too. But I'm just trying to explain the emotion and the roller coaster that you get from seeing these guys so close to you.
It's so good. And at one point, James, is rocking out with Lars, and then he turns and he's facing the crowd. So I mean, he's literally right above me, just going nuts. And I'm screaming like a little kid. I'm screaming like I'm at a Taylor Swift concert,
Yeah.
And at that point, though, but I got both horns in the air. I'm just screaming, and then I yell, "Fuck yeah, James!" And he looks at me and he smiles, and I'm like, "That's the $1 million moment for me."
Yeah,
that's funny you say that, Chris. I was on Gavin's shoulders in the gold circle at Slane. Mm-hmm. And the security guard was shouting at us, and I think it was during Master of Puppets. No, it might have been For Whom the Bell Tolls, because he was playing the Les Paul. I have the picture of it when he puts his thing up. Yeah. And Gavin starts shouting at him.
Yeah, I don't know why. It came over me. I don't know what.
He's like, James, and he sort of starts looking down into the crowd, and Gavin's giving him the finger.
Yeah, I don't. I don't know why.
For the laugh, but like not with a look of aggression on his face, just like yeah. And he sort of mad dogs him or eyeballs him, and it's just like.
I actually have the picture.
Yeah, we have the pictures. Cool. But it was so good that it was like the nod of approval. It was like, you guys are with it.
Yeah. And we didn't have phones out around. Well, obviously I took one picture, but like I took a couple of snaps at the start. But I was just like, I was in awe. I'm like, Snake Pit's another level. Someday I'll get there, but this was good enough for me in this moment. And let's keep going through the set list, and we definitely have some stories about Slane too that we can relate to.
We got Whiplash at number one.
Yeah.
Number two. What have we got at number two? Number two, we have Bells, For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's funny because whenever I'm in that spot, for whatever reason, I'll just kind of black out afterwards on what took place there. And in Madrid, that we got Cyanide Madrid, correct?
Yes.
Correct. Yep.
And that was it. I remember seeing like they put out the Cyanide video, and I reached out to a friend. I was like, they played Cyanide? I didn't remember that. And then I started going back through like my photos, and I had a video, like 10-second video through Cyanide, and I was like, wow, they sure as hell played Cyanide.
Yeah.
I think it was the next day after they released, when I saw the set list that Zach puts out. But yeah, it was. I think it was later on that I was like, they played Bells. I know they do. They always do.
Yeah.
But then I remembered I remembered actually because there's moments that I always remember, and one is when they say, "Here's the silence so loud," and then from S&M 2, "Motherfucker."
Yes, yes, yes.
I was like, okay, I did yell that. I'm happy they did play it.
The adrenaline was probably running high right then.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, yeah. And then we got Ride the Lightning,
which is one of my favorites live.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to touch on, Luke. Do you remember we got the solo right in front of us?
Oh yeah, we got the solo right in front of us for one actually.
Was it one? I thought he came down for Ride as well.
He might have done, but I think we were a wee bit further back for Ride. Whereas for one, we were actually
right
there. I don't know, like 15 foot away, Chris. Yeah. His platform. We were like 4 rows deep from the rail, and Kirk was right in front of us. But awesome. Ride the Lightning was awesome as well. I think Ride the Lightning, Gavin, was after.
It was early.
It was after Memory Remains, because I actually remember screaming in excitement. It was like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Because James had brought out the Man to Wolf.
That's right.
And I hadn't seen it previous before, and we got a load of head turns in front of us, as if something wrong was after happening. And I had only realized it, and I was like, it's the Man to Wolf. I was overcome with excitement that guitar was on stage after however many years that it was in HQ or supposedly at the museum in Tokyo, because for anyone who's into the guitar collecting no more than myself, into the lore of James and Kirk's collection, I thought that guitar had surely vanished, never to return.
Yeah, it was great to see. And then the memory remains, which we featured in 2 videos of Metallica's, which is very funny. We're in Slane Castle and we're in Madrid in the actual Metallica videos. I'm sure you're in plenty of them too, Chris.
Yeah.
But it's definitely cool seeing that. Another track that I will not get sick of listening to. I think I love the way the fans can sing their hearts out to that one. I really like to see it in the set. I'm not sure about you, Chris. What do you think of that track?
I always love it because when I first became a Metallica fan, that's what was new at the time too. And it's like I've got a lot of really great memories with it. And then I saw it at the 30th when Marianne Faithfull came out and sang with that. And so I consider myself lucky having seen that performance.
Wow.
Anything from Reload, I'm never going to say no to.
Cool.
Nice.
Cool. And then we get our 72 season slot with Lux Eterna and Too Far Gone. Too Far Gone is a great song too.
Great song.
Yeah. Lux Eterna, it's okay. It's not one of my favorites off the album, but definitely Too Far Gone for me anyway. I'm not sure about you guys.
Yeah, with Lux Eterna, it's still just because that was the first material we got of 72 seasons. So that's near and dear to me.
Yeah.
I'm still excited during that song and love singing along. Too Far Gone. I'm just trying to place myself there, but I enjoy it.
yeah. Oh no, definitely. Like it definitely was a step up. Just going off a little bit, I think it really was a step up from Hardwired. This whole album, the production on the album as well is brilliant. So then we get into Kirk and Rob's Doodle, which is Dolly Parton's Jolene, which I haven't seen any footage of, but I'm going to guess I'd say it went down a treat.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell. Yeah, I didn't realize it was Jolene. I was just kind of, I was there, I was there in the moment, and I had just moved over. I'd been looking for. I took that opportunity. Like, I need to go around and look for friends
Okay.
because I had just kind of come over, put myself in a no man's land after that first one. But then I realized that they had gone into something local at that point. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, this is going to be a hit with the locals.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So going back, Chris, at what stage does the drum kit move then from where you were? How many tracks do you get on that drum kit?
Get four at the first,
Four.
get
Okay.
four at the second, and then three at three, then four at four.
Okay, interesting. Interesting. Well, track number 8, Fade to Black.
Hmm.
Damn.
I think so. What was going on in my life at that moment was the Dallas Stars were playing in Game 7 against the Colorado Avalanche.
Okay. Game
And so
7.
during the delay, it was 2-2, and I was texting my friends. I was like, "Metallica's coming on. Good luck." So at that point, at the end of the doodle and at the intro tape, I took the moment of who won the game. I saw the Dallas Stars had won, and I let
No
out,
way.
a primal scream that my team had beat our rivals and advanced. And I think everybody around me must have thought I was the biggest Fade to Black fan, and I very well still could be, but it didn't have anything to do with that. But I hadn't. Obviously, it's been a bit since I've heard anything other than the regular stuff
Hmm.
since last year. But I was really happy to hear Fade to Black and be
Ah,
up close for it.
such a good track. Like, funny, I spoke about it earlier on a different podcast. Like, between James riffing and Kirk solos, so and his lyrics, and how special that song is. It's such a good song. It's such a brilliant song. And were they tight on that song? No mistakes. Everything went smooth.
Yeah, I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary there. Yeah, there's times where I'm always like, "Please hit this, Kirk. Please hit this," and I didn't.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure in the solos.
Yeah, it's tough.
yeah.
Yeah.
There are certain things, and he loves to play Greenie on that song as well.
Is that where you got your pictures, Chris? I seen you got some sick pictures on your Instagram.
Yeah, a lot of them were from, a lot of them obviously were from that first slot right there. But then I think that's where I was able to get good pictures, I think during Fade to Black and right after. And then I think as we went into Inamorata and over to three, because like one and two is where I was nearest. And I think once we went to three, I was like, I've got the shots I need by this point and I can relax.
Yeah.
But I did get a good picture over at Drum Kit 3 of Lars handing a stick to somebody. I later found a video today of that interaction, so I was able to find that guy on Instagram and get that picture over to him.
Ah, that's
Ah,
great.
man.
That's cool. That's
That's what it's all about.
100%. Yeah. That's the family, boy. But then we get into Wherever I May Roam.
Oh, a heavy hitter.
So good. It's better live though. It is better live, in
Oh
my
yeah,
opinion. It's like it's such a good arena song where everybody just gets another. You might be hitting a little bit of a wall, the legs are getting heavy, beers in, but that song will bring you back. Definitely. Um, so then we roll into the Call of Cthulhu with the dedication to Cliff. And then unfortunately, my prediction too, skipping ahead a little bit, Chris, didn't come through. Was there any whispers about the Unforgiven too?
same. We were, yeah, and unfortunately, because I'm a guy who doesn't. I'm like, if you see the set list, don't tell me.
Mm,
And somebody had already word had already got reached me. I was like, damn it. But I knew that they were going to be going with Unforgiven, so I was disappointed at that point, and luckily I wasn't hoping for it when I heard the intro tape. I knew what we were going into, so
yeah.
there was no letdown at that point. It was like, okay, go into Unforgiven. Also around that time, so Cthulhu into
Yeah.
Unforgiven, I ran into Clint. I had heard, yeah, because you had told me he was going to be there, be in the pit.
Yeah.
At that point, I run into him, and he's with his buddies, and right in front of me, I was like, I recognize that guy. There's a guy in front of me, and I'd seen him previous to that because I was like, I keep seeing this guy. And then his buddy was like, "Hey, Clint, look, it's Jay Weinberg," and then tap
Oh,
him on the shoulder, and Clint meets him briefly. I was like, "Oh my goodness!" So going into Unforgiven, I'm rocking out next to Jay Weinberg,
Shit.
throughout that song, and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And seeing how much of a fan he is,
Wow.
and then as that rolls into with along with Inamorata, he's taken video, he's taken pictures, and at one point I just tapped him on the shoulder and was able to get a picture with him and told him how much I appreciate his work and seeing him in the flesh and being in his presence.
Wow, that's sick. Yeah, I know Clint and him are friendly, um, but Jesus, man, that's that's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I think it is one of those things, though. You never know who you're going to meet in the pit
Yeah.
at a Metallica gig, especially in the Snake Pit. Even some of those celebrities, you think of the Australian tour and the New Zealand tour, Gavin, like there's a lot of Aussies that are mad into Metallica,
Of course.
mad into the heavier stuff. Like you could be bumping shoulders with a Daniel Ricciardo or a Margot Robbie or something like
Yeah.
that. People who just absolutely adore the band and heavy music.
And did Suicidal Tendencies play that? No, they played the other night, right?
it played the first night.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
played the first night. Of course, he's with them now, right? But nice guy, I'm sure.
yeah,
That's a hell of a story. And did you got to say hi to Clint as well, which
yeah.
is cool too. That's nice.
Yeah,
That's
it was nice to see him because I thought, yeah, leading up to it, I told you I
yeah.
thought he'd be on tour and wouldn't be able to make it. So I'm elated for him that he was able to make the hometown show.
Yeah. I sent him a message and he said, yeah, the show was awesome. But Clint's cool. He's the man. He has it all. He's a great guy. I love his podcast too.
Yeah.
Make sure to check it out. Of course, Metal Up Your Podcast. It's a great show. Um, so then we get into another one of your favorites, Chris. Fight Fire with Fire.
Oh man. And again, I was like, well, they're probably gonna do black. They're probably gonna stick black into this slot. I've been anticipating, the rotation. We get to know it, and I was like, fine, that's fine with me. Give me Fight Fire with Fire, and yeah, I rocked it out as I always do.
Yeah, and then Moth into Flame one, and then
Fire with fire.
Enter Sandman to finish it off with the balls. So, how is the body after this heavy endurance of Metallica over the last 3 or 4 weeks?
Yeah, yeah. Immediately after Toronto, it was like, okay, we got to get back into tour shape, and thankfully, I held up very well this past weekend. It was just more getting sleep somewhere.
Yeah, because you gotta get right back into work and stuff. Yeah, it's got to be tough. Like it's a lot of traveling. America's a big country. Like you know what I mean. You're flying, you're driving, you know. But oh man, hearing them stories, just I think. Well, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but let's rate Toronto and Nashville.
Give me Nashville.
Yeah, it
And
sounds.
I truly had a good time in Toronto, and I've got good friends there, and I was shown a good time.
Yeah,
Um, but Nashville turned into quite the experience.
yeah. Jesus Christ, rubbing shoulders with Jay Weinberg, winning the Snake Pit. Nashville, I know, is a cool, cool town with good musician, good beer, good people. But yeah, it sounds like even the way you spoke about the sound being better as well always makes things
Yeah.
better. Okay, there was a little bump in the road with the thunderstorm, but shit happens, right? So yeah. So what's the future, Chris? Is there any more shows in your schedule for the band or?
Yeah, my bowling night one in Tampa. I've got a 3-day weekend. They play on Friday, so it'd be convenient to fly out Thursday, go see them on Friday, and make my way back and have FOMO for the Sunday show.
Yes.
Uh, and then Set in Stone is going to be the last two the last four shows, the last two no repeat weekends, Santa Clara, and with it culminating here in Denver. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Nice.
So does you have the I Disappear? No, you have the I Disappear.
I
So
do.
does that cover every show?
It covers all of the tour shows. So
Not the one
next,
nights.
yeah, so it would cover Blacksburg. It hits those one-offs that are announced, but Columbus, it doesn't cover Columbus because that's a festival.
Festival,
So if
okay.
they're doing two shows, it's a festival. And that's disappointing because yeah, that's my birthday. I want to go, but it was like when you're doing the I Disappear thing, it's like I can't really justify going. And I'm not a big festival guy anymore either. Like I was 20 years ago.
Yeah, I know. I hear you. It's hard enough.
But
It's hard enough doing what you're doing. But man, that was awesome to hear all the great reports about the show. Thanks again for so much for coming on and speaking to us. It's been a blast, hasn't it, Luke?
Yeah, no, Chris, that has really been a blast from the past, bringing up some of those experiences of previous shows.
Yeah, yeah.
So thank you very much for that.
I hope some of our listeners got the chills that I definitely got hearing them stories. You know, just thinking about that ecstasy goal coming up, and like you spoke so passionately about the drum kit popping up, and we can all see that visual of James and Rob and Kirk just there in front of you. Like, there's nothing beats it. There's really not. It's great to hear it. And again, a big thank you for coming on, Chris. We really appreciate it, and great feedback from our listeners. They enjoy it. So hopefully we get you back on to review them shows, the ones that you're hitting up towards the end of the tour.
yeah, I'd be happy to do it. I appreciate you having me, and I enjoy what you guys are doing.
Cool. Thanks so much, man. Well, that's it for always. If you enjoyed the show, please hit that subscribe button, give us a follow, and leave us a comment what your top 5 Metallica tracks are. Until the next one, keep rocking.